with Zyori. It's at his event.
Yeah.
The summit. This is your home event,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been running around doing a lot of kind of like massaging the transition between all the administrators and
A little bit, yeah.
masters and everything. Do you find it hard to do that while casting yourself, or?
Yeah, actually, it was pretty hard yesterday. I was in the last series, so I just kind of sat down and we kind of ran with it. It was a little tricky. We didn't have a really good plan with how to close the show, or if there was a good plan, I missed the memo on that one. So a series ended, and I looked like kind of a dum-dum for a few minutes there. I guess that's a pretty normal.
And I made my debut. We talked about Vulcan.
Yeah, that was good. I liked that. So, Hotbid, what do you think about this pick? You're like, I'm out of here. I'm done.
Yeah.
Drop the mic.
They were like, you want to come on and talk about Vulcan? I'm like, yeah, I'm like huge fantasy. Like, I love playing fantasy, and I do it for like.
And then the draft just started.
The draft just started. They're like, I'm still sitting there, and Zyori just like, hey, well, what do you feel about this draft? And first, that was the first time I've ever been like.
I just wanted to include you, man. I didn't want you to feel left out.
I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not an expert at Dota.
You play Dota though. What's your MMR?
I'm like 4.4.
That's good.
Yeah, but I'm not like a good I don't have like good
presentation
of like pro Dota.
Okay, I got you.
I'm not like you guys. You guys know a lot more.
We do it a little more.
You guys are running this event. A lot of people don't see what's behind the scenes of it.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is the most like hectic or crazy or underrated part of running an event, logistically? That is.
I would say the kind of organizational structure. That was something that was really bad at the Summit too. I think aside from the computer issues, once we got those fixed, the actual show flow of the Summit 2 was pretty good once we got through the headaches. But behind the scenes, we had a lot of people that were sort of all doing the same thing. We had too many people that didn't have very clear roles. Or like, okay, LD.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. I noticed this time you have like someone that just does this.
Yeah.
You're just like, they know exactly what they're
doing. It's like, David Parker, you are in charge of talent. You're in charge of all the people that sit on the couch, wrangling them, making sure they know what to do. Myself and Rob are kind of in charge. Rob's the team coordinator, so he's in charge of interfacing with managers and arranging rides. And I'm kind of in charge of the drivers and the hotel staff. Rob and I have been tag teaming it. So this time we just have a pretty dichotomous roles, and then the core four, as we call it, the two Davids, myself and Brian, K-Pop-Tosis, are kind of there to make those big macro decisions, or if there's some issue or something that comes up. So it's getting that kind of template to know who's doing what, I think, is really important. I've been studying a bit of project management recently, and what I'm learning is putting more time into the prep to make the actual process easier is really a lot more valuable
You guys
than
have a lot
anything
of
else.
meetings.
We have a lot of lists too.
Yeah, and then I think that's how it goes. Running these kind of events. What do you envision for the next one?
Oof, God.
I know this is really early. Like we're like second day, but
yeah,
like most of the prep work is what's difficult.
Yeah.
Actually, running the show is not as hard as.
Right. Once it's all kind of put into place. Yeah. If you do your homework at the beginning, it makes it a lot easier. Usually, what we do is at the end of the tournament, we have basically all of the core staff sitting. Like last time, it was just a big circle, and okay, name everything that pissed you off this event. When did you have a headache? What issues did you come across? What did people say would make this better? And then we just try to make a list and see what is possible and what isn't, or if there's another reason why issues happen. So that was kind of the time after the Summit 2 when we came up with a lot of stuff for the Summit 3. For example, giving the international managers burner cell phones. It's a very simple thing, but it's made communication this go around a lot easier, whereas before they were kind of like trying to find Wi-Fi, tweeting at us. And this time we officially made Twitter a non-official communication channel, because last time players were like tweeting at us for rides, and as you can imagine, that's a clusterfuck of
And you guys have drivers this time, Toffees and Slacks?
Yeah, we've had drivers in the past, but it's probably the least fun job, I would say. It's
yeah, like those guys,
it's very grindy.
Their skills are obviously extend far beyond driving. What made you decide to like put those guys into that kind of? That
was kind of a somewhat last-minute decision. This time with the practice area at the hotel, we needed at least an additional 4 staff just to stay on duty and make sure the players have everything they need, and that if there are issues, to contact the hotel and deal with it. And then we wanted to bring some more staff at the house just to make sure we were totally covered to handle all 8 teams. And we weren't really sure how we were going to staff it. The original plan was just to find locals or like just esports fan nearby. We get a lot of like resumes and requests for volunteers and stuff.
But the thing is, like, yeah, it's tough because you're trusting a pretty important position, even though it might not be super, like glamorous or like high skilled.
Yeah, but
it's like
it's really important though. You got to show up on time.
Pulls up, accidentally crashes the van or something.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money that LGD could like 'Cause
plus,
these are like multi-million-dollar organizations. You know?
yeah, and plus like the kind of fanboyism thing is one of our biggest concerns. With
Yeah.
drivers like, listen, you know, if they want to talk to you, that's fine, engage, but when in doubt, just shut up. You know,
Yeah.
like you're not there to be their friend, you're there to be their driver, and
Yo, Bernie, can I take a picture?
Yeah, like
no, dude.
some teams are interested and will chat. I mean, I've done a lot of driving. Some teams are really interested and will chat and ask questions, and others will just speak in their native tongue, talk to themselves, strategize, whatever. So it's hard to explain that to people that don't really work in the industry. So we were trying to come up with ideas to create more content on the stream. That was part of like bringing you here and some of the other talent like Syndrin. I was like, well, maybe we can bring in some people like Toffees that want to make some pre-roll videos, and then they can staff the event and they can double as people on the couch. If, you know, Syndrin gets sick or we need somebody to fill, you know, Mott can sit on the couch, for example. So we wanted to fill with as many kind of hybrid people as possible. And also, it's just a great opportunity for someone like Slacks and Toffees that don't really get invited to events very often. They're pretty happy to do a tedious job or whatever you want, a non-glamorous job, I guess is how you put it. But they still get to feel the event, interact with players, still get to network around a lot. And it's a lot better to work with people that are excited to be here. You know, they're just pumped. You know, we've changed the hotel schedule a few times. We actually pulled Hippie from working at the hotel, and now he's doing social media here at the house because we needed somebody to do it, and he just seemed competent. Now he's been doing a really good job, and everyone's just been super flexible, eager just to stay up all night, work hard, and it's a lot easier to manage people that are just motivated and excited.
Yeah, and you guys set up a little mini LAN center at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Logistically seemed to be a little difficult, but
yeah, we made it work.
That's above and beyond, right?
Yeah, when we landed from San Francisco, we had like that 50% Dota plane where like it was IG Secret, a bunch of our staff, Envy was on it, just basically everyone coming from Red Bull to the Summit 3. We got off the plane and Tron was asking me about where they could go practice if they were going to go to LAN Cafe, and I said there's PCs at the hotel, and he just said nice tournament and just walked away. So that was one of the biggest pieces of feedback we got.
Crazy,
was
like
practice time.
Those players, man,
they're fiends, dude.
You put them in a room and they have an interconnection in Dota and they're good.
Oh yeah.
Like, they like almost nothing else about the tournament matters if they have their own PC.
That and food.
Yeah.
They like food and computers. Those are the two big things that really make teams happy. And not getting up too early. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
They don't want to get up before 8.
Yeah, and you have it staffed and open 24 hours.
It was 24 hours since we pulled Hippie. It's closed now from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. On the first night, no one came in during that 4-hour window.
That's when I was gonna go.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know. I was
hit some
go.
5 a.m. pubs.
Yeah. I feel like the 5 a.m. NA crowd is the perfect time to play solo queue riots.
It is. That is a good time to grind MMR. But that's kind of the dead period. But it's essentially it's 20 hours a day now, so it's pretty open. And there's food and stuff there. It's pretty nice.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh.
What about your history and stuff? I don't think we've ever done one of these.
My
right?
history? No, we've never done one. No.
Yeah. It's 'cause,
I've never been lucky enough to have a Hotbid interview.
I want to do one when you had the dreads on.
Oh,
you
man.
did, now that they're gone. I saw you meet with someone at Red Bull who had dreads himself.
Yeah, I met that guy at the TI4 after party, I think, and he was, obviously very excited. Another white guy with dreads. He was all pumped up. He was just so excited, and he saw me at the San Jose event, and he just gave me that moment of silence look of just.
He was just like, you
traitor.
Yeah.
Traitor. And I was like, oh, come on, man. He was like, you know what? You're taking your job more seriously. I can appreciate that. And then he walked away. I was like, all right, well, I'll take it.
Maybe he'll cut off his dreads.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're going to get invited to TI this year, though. I feel it.
I would be very surprised if I didn't. I think I was actually somewhat prepared to not be invited to TI4 because it was like the image thing. And like I was still kind of the new guy on the block. I'd been full-time VTS for like 6 months, 5 months-ish, whatever, when the invites went out. What I wasn't prepared for was to be that one person that was not invited. It seemed like they invited every other talent and then some.
Well, I mean, some other people. I don't really want to go into
Yeah.
like who wasn't invited because I could probably just name a few people that also didn't get invited. But
I wasn't literally the only one,
Yeah.
but someone like Alan, for example, that was like the first time he ever worked on camera, and at the time I was like, dude, I cast Dota like every day. I could work that panel. What about me, guys? But I feel like this year.
If they don't invite you this year, what are you gonna do? You gonna riot?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think my brain will just explode.
I mean, you do a lot of work. You do a lot of hours. I always see you on the fucking.
We do a lot of Dota. Yeah, we cast a lot. So.
You're like those like pilots that have like, oh I've got 800 hours under like this thing. You're like the guy that. Do you think you have the most?
Well, they did. There was a post that came out at the beginning of this year. I think Haas did it, where they pulled out like through Dat Dota all the ticketed games and the casters that were on it, and I was in like the top 5. I think.
Who was number 1? It's gotta be like Cap or something, right?
I don't think it was Cap. I can't remember now. Blaze was strikingly high, though he wasn't number one. LD was actually strikingly high as well. People forget that he doesn't that he casts a lot still, because he does a little more like Chinese SEA stuff.
BTS does so much that
yeah.
Like every time you tune into BTS, if it's not LD, you kind of remember it. You know.
I've noticed Reddit has some Western bias. Like if you cast a lot of Chinese Dota, they're like, who's that guy again? And if you cast a lot of Western Dota, they
Reddit is East. I mean, to be fair to Reddit,
it's a Western site.
Yeah, they're a North American and European centered site. They don't know much about C and China.
It makes sense, but I think last year
they're going to be very interested in the Chinese and C qualifiers, to be honest. Like they're going to watch a little bit of it, but it's not going to be like all the known Chinese teams are out of it.
Yeah, I think last year I casted 350 ticketed games that were recorded on Dat Dota, and that doesn't count like any LAN where there was another observer where my account wasn't in there. It doesn't count any shows, any panels that I hosted, that kind of stuff. So that's
you going for #1 this year?
I kind of hope not. That's a lot of Dota, man. That's some serious grind. I'm hoping to do like less volume but higher quality. You know, work more LAN events and do more hosting, that kind of stuff. So less games,
but more. You just cast the very best league, and then you switch to Hearthstone.
Oh, there you go.
Is
that the model? Is that the way to break through?
That's the Artosis way.
Yeah. What happened to World of Tanks? I thought they were all.
World of Tanks is they did World of Tanks for they got brought in for World of Tanks. They cast a few of them. I don't think it was ever really like in the plan to be serious about that.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that close with Tasteless or Artosis. So
Artosis is a huge. Like, Artosis is legit in Hearthstone though. Like he's like an OG like Magic the Gathering player. You know.
Right. He's a card guy.
Yeah. He got some flack. He gets some flack for switching, but people still like him.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I like the hosting thing. I think 2015. I mean, I've worked a lot more events this year than I did last year. Partially because BTS just has more LAN events, and also because I don't know. I think I've just improved a bit relative to this time last year in terms of my LAN presence.
And okay, so before casting Dota, what did you do?
Like before I started. So I have a BS in entrepreneurship. I have a bachelor's degree.
In entrepreneurship.
Yep. My degree's hanging in the other room. It actually says entrepreneurship on it.
You put it up?
Yeah, it's hanging. Hell yeah, dude. I paid a lot of money for that thing. You kidding? Where's your degree? Is it sitting in a box somewhere?
You can I have a law degree, okay?
Yeah.
And I don't have it anywhere.
Where is it actually? Just tucked in a box? Do you throw it away?
Probably at my house, I guess.
You don't even know?
I'll make you a photocopy. You wanna put it up too?
Kinda. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of nice.
Okay, so what do they teach you in entrepreneurship?
It's a very pretentious title that it's like 1 credit different from business administration, or not 1 credit, 1 class different. Yeah. Basically, instead of like 2 public administration classes, you take 2 creative classes. I had like an innovation class and an
innovation class.
Yeah.
What do they teach you in that?
How
do you
to
teach
innovate?
someone to be innovative?
It's silly. I'm not gonna lie. I actually find it to be somewhat pretentious.
I could teach that and then just take all their ideas. Is that what?
Yeah, do it, dude. I mean, it depends who I'm talking to. I often just say I have a business degree, but if I really break it down, I'm like, yeah. So you can literally say I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, I could, but I don't, because that's like, Andrew Campbell, entrepreneur, like, for fuck's sake.
Anytime someone introduces themselves as an entrepreneur, I'm just like, so you don't have a job. Like, technically, I'm an entrepreneur. And
pretty much anybody that like is a self-starter is an entrepreneur, I think, in this day and age. So it's a somewhat meaningless title.
But everyone will be in the future, like internet, right?
I hope so. Internet entrepreneurs, man.
That's where you gotta find your offices yesterday.
Yeah, there you go.
Forget that stuff.
So check this out. I started in esports because of Team Liquid. I bought StarCraft 2 when it came out. Played it for a little while, I had some friends, and then someone said, hey, you should play in an amateur tournament, and linked me to some, like, the prize was an hour of coaching with somebody I'd never heard of, platinum-only tournament. It was on Team Liquid, and I saw the, like, 10,000 people logged in at the top. I was like, damn, what's this website? It's a lot of traffic. And I started looking around, and that was when my eyes got open to, damn, people watch people play video games and talk about it.
That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, the launch of StarCraft 2 is when I discovered esports.
And then how'd you get into Dota? You switched into Dota.
Well, I've always been a big gamer. I was a big Blizzard fanboy. Diablo 2 was like the first real game that I really like.
So you didn't start casting StarCraft or anything like that, did you?
I did. I casted StarCraft for about a year. Remember Hypercrew? Those little baby tournaments?
Yeah, I remember that name. I don't.
I was that guy.
Okay.
We did what year was it? What year did StarCraft 2 come out? 2010?
2012. Well, the beta was 2010.
Like when did Wings of Liberty? What year did Wings of Liberty?
2010.
2010. Okay, so I think I started hosting like little micro tournaments. It was like 25 or 30 or $50 like Friday night opens, and we would do those once a week. We did like 25 of them or so, and it was really so I could like practice casting. And at the time, it's like that was not a lot of money, but StarCraft was booming, so we could fill a 128 player bracket, and usually we would get at least 1 or 2 decent players. Like Destiny played in the first one, Sheth played in a lot of them. A whole bunch of, we tried to network around and, talk to players and be like, hey, this is really easy. You can play 5 games and win $30. It'll be awesome,
$30. Those were the days, right?
Yeah.
Those were the days.
How things have changed. So
okay, so then you found Dota, I guess?
Yeah, so back to Diablo 2. I played Blizzard games a lot. So I played Warcraft 3 when that was like the hot title from Blizzard. So I knew what Dota was through custom games. I mean, I didn't know anything about the competitive scene. I was a total amateur. I was probably one of the worst pubbers ever, but I was very familiar with what Dota 1 was, and when my friends and I would play vanilla Warcraft, we would, for little LAN parties when we got tired of grinding, we would play Dota and feed.
And then you just started casting in BTS.
Yeah, so
you just started casting 2 days later. BTS was like, "Hey,
no.
join?"
So I had played Heroes of Newerth quite a bit. Like when that game came out, I had friends that got me a beta key, and once I started playing, I was like, "Wow, this is like Dota, but better engine. It's faster. You can reconnect. There's stat tracking. It's like standalone Dota. It's Dota 1.5." So I stopped playing Dota 1, focused on Han, and as that game got more S2 specific and less Dota porty, when they stopped porting Dota Heroes, it just kept getting kind of worse and worse. So I was kind of trying to transition into Dota 2 while I was like working with Honcast and working on Dota projects.
That gym.
I could have been me, dude. I could have. They offered me a job and I turned it down. I could have been Breaky's number 2. It was not worth $30,000 a year. I'm glad I didn't do it. Who wants to live in Kalamazoo, Michigan?
Yeah, it's a little rough.
That's a weird place to set up a studio.
It is, yeah. But now you live in LA.
Yeah. Well, the Inland Empire.
Yeah.
People in LA get really mad about that because we put Los Angeles on everything. People in Europe don't know the difference. LA is LA. It's somewhere in California. They're cool with it.
The same with San Francisco. Like someone was like, I was like, oh yeah, Fear and Charlie live in San Francisco, and someone's from San Francisco was like, they don't live in San Francisco. They live in
Oakland.
They live like 20 minutes away or something. Like they're like, that's not real San Francisco. I'm like,
pretentious.
It's San Francisco to me, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we're in the Inland Empire. All you LA fan straights out there.
And so you started casting. You probably cast a lot. And then BTS one day called you up. No,
it was the Dota. You're familiar with the Dota Radio project, that audio only casting thing that I did. It was
no.
So kind of middle of 2013, I was on vacation in Florida. I was hammered in August, just soaking up the rays. I was like, what if there was radio coverage of esports? And then I started thinking, I was like, okay. And then I typed in dotaradio.com, and the domain was open. I was like, wow, no one's thought of this yet. This is a good idea.
Yeah, you're being sarcastic now. I can hear it in your voice.
A little bit, but that's actually what I was thinking at the time. And I bought the domain on the spot and started putting the little website together, and it was basically we had an audio-only platform that I still streamed on Twitch. And at the time, I was basically just buying tickets and YOLOing it, and that's not really kosher. At the time, it was like sort of 50-50-ish, and now that's like, a big no-no. But we started doing this thing called the Dota Radio Morning Show, and for like a month and a half, it was 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like an hour and a half in the morning. And it was myself, Charlie, and Hippie, or Chris, the guy that's here doing the social media stuff. And it was just like, news show, podcasty thing, and Charlie's big... I made a post on Reddit saying, I want to do this thing, I need help, I need somebody that like has all the contacts, can get guests, and like handle all that stuff. And I had 3 emails. One was like, hi, I like Dota. The other one was kind of, I'm a self-starter, but I don't really have any contacts. And the third one was Charlie, who was the absolute perfect candidate. And I remember we had a little phone call. We talked about our goals. We talked about where we were in our lives, our degrees, what we wanted to do. And we committed to doing a month and a half the Dota Radio Morning Show. And that kind of coincided with MLG Columbus 2013. And I was going anyway, and they let me be in the analyst area on the couch. And that's where I first started networking in Dota. And I met the Davids in person there, had dinner with LD, told him my whole spiel about esports and my mishaps with S2 and Honcast and all that shit. And a few days later, I got a message saying, hey, you want to do our remote coverage for Starladder Season 8? I said, yeah, sure. And then, $10 a game, let's do this thing.
Let's go.
It might have been $20 a game, I can't remember. But yeah, that was a fun time.
And then you grinded
I grinded the hell out of that season.
You have a good tolerance for the grinding.
Yes. My motto when I was starting out in esports was I want to make up for what I don't have in skills by effort. So people can flame me for being bad or like